Hello, my name is Elise, or Cafe Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the best decks to come out of Set 7 of the Divine's era, and that is going to be the sealed Blaze of Arbitration Bavsargra Akshaaya. Bavsargra players rejoice, you finally got a new form, a new Vanguard, and it has a lot going for it. First, we're going to go ahead and talk about the ride line though, which of course you are on the Sealed Blaze Dragon Arhinsa Z. Apologies ahead of time, I will be butchering most of these names. And it is actually important that you are on the Arhinsa as your ride line. It is going to telegraph a little, but your Namakar Anui, his when placed skill only works if you're riding over Sfr, which on place by Soul Blasting one and revealing the Bavsargra in your ride line, you get to perform one of these two effects right here, or if you want second, you do both. And both are the same effects to search your deck for up to either one Sealed Blaze Sword Dayava or Sealed Blaze Shield Botanta, the new base arms for Bavsargra, and add them to hand. Along with that, the new grades 2, the Halibadra Balat. When it's rode upon by the new Bavsargra for a single counterblast, you get to search your deck for up to 2 arms and discard them, and then you arm one arms card from drop to your Vanguard. What are arms cards? I realize I haven't gone too much into that yet. We'll get into them when we hit our grade 3 cards. Which, the first one we will be talking about is our grade 3 Vanguard of the ride line, Bavsargra Akshaaya, who she has a number of skills. The first one being that she is always regarded on Vanguard Circle as Sealed Blaze main Bavsargra. This is because the Sealed Blaze, the arms cards, the deity arms, a lot of the old ones are specifically locked to Sealed Blaze main Bavsargra. Along with a couple of other units that are name locked, this allows them to still all be played. On that, we've got 3 once per turn abilities. The first one being to put a card from hand to soul to arm an arms card from drop. The second being that if she is armed with 2 or more different cards, you can Soul Blast 2, retire the opponent's front row, and she gets a crit. If you don't retire, she draws a card. And lastly, her auto ability that when she is armed, you energy charge 1. You can call a grade 1 or less card from drop. If you choose a card with Veilord in the name, you can overdress it over Trick Moon instead. Now for the actual main deck, for grade 3s, the only grade 3 unit are our 3 Persona rides. The rest of the grade 3s are taken up by order cards, 2 copies of the Sealed Blade Sword Diava, which can be played with Counterblast 1. And when it's armed, you get to choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets the skill that all of your front row units gain 5k. And when the unit that's armed with it attacks a grade 3 or greater card, you can have the armed unit gain additional drive, but at the end of the turn, Diava goes to drop. And this is a right deity arms, which means it goes on the left side of Bav because perspective, stage right, blah, blah, blah. Along with that, we have the Sealed Blaze Shield, which can also be played with a counterblast, and when it's armed, it draws you a card, and when the unit armed with it is attacked, you can give it 10k for the end of that battle once per turn, or for a single Soul Blast, you can up it to 20k instead of 10. And this is a left deity arm, so go on the other side. And the reason for that is that you are kind of locked to specific pairings of arms. And we are on 1 more arms card. We're on 2 copies of the Sealed Blaze Hammer Suraya, which I think I said that right. It's a right deity arms, which means it goes on the same side. It goes on the left side over sword. It doesn't actually have a cost to play, so you can just go ahead and play it. It'll arm itself. And when it's armed, you get to choose one of your opponent's back row units and retire it, and your Vanguard gets 10k. That is really important because the deck doesn't actually have back row removal, so if there's problem cards in the back row, this is your only way to get rid of them. On with that, at the end of the turn, by putting it into drop, you can pick a different right deity arm, so the sword up here, and add it to hand. And of course, I'm on 1 more order card, the Fire Regalis, which can't actually be played as an order, but it does have a skill that in hand or drop, you can remove it, check the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can pick up to 1 card and reveal it. If you don't reveal a card, you just shuffle back up, draw a card. But if you do reveal a card, it has 2 skills. The glitter skill allows you to put it to hand, but that will never come up in this deck. The other one allows you to take the revealed card, as long as the grade is less than or equal to the Vanguard, and call it. So you're always going to be picking a unit for that. Along with that, onto the grade 2s, we have the main beater for the deck, the Sealed Blaze Dragon Yugmashad, who, when placed for 3 energy and discarding an arms card, you get to draw 2 cards, and if the opponent's grade 3, he gains 5, which you would think that discarding the arms card could potentially be kind of detriment because you need them. Bavsargra arms them from drop, and you have a lot of other recycling that we'll get to as we continue through this profile, so you don't need to actually worry about that. Other than that, when your Vanguard with Bavsargra attacks, at the end of the battle she does, as long as the opponent's on grade 3 for a single counterblast, he restands. You might be noticing right about here that there's a lot of counterblast in this deck. Both of these arms and Yugmashad all counterblast. We'll get to why that's fine in a second. It's partially okay because Bavsargra, like I said, she freely arms the cards. Halibadra, when rode upon, it is a counterblast, but he arms a card too, so you're getting a 2-for-1 out of that. And you do have a countercharger in the form of Trickmoon, who we will be getting to pretty shortly. But let's go ahead and finish up the grade 2s, in which we also have 3 copies of Sealed Blaze Dragon Apara, who, when placed from hand, as long as you have a Sealed Blaze Vanguard, you get to check the top 5 cards of your deck, and you either choose a card with the Overdress ability, the Dress Boost ability, or an arms card, discard it and shuffle the deck. And when it's in drop, when your Vanguard becomes armed for 3 energy, you can call it to drop and gain 5k for the turn. So it's another way to deck thin, find more of your pieces, and it's also a recurable body if need be. And to round out our grade 2s, I'm on a single copy of Sealed Blaze Dragon Divistia, who, on place for a single Soul Blast, you can check the top 7, either choose a card, and you get to choose a card with the Dress Boost ability, and up to 1 arms, reveal both, you pick one, put it to hand, and the other goes to drop. Then you shuffle the deck, and when it attacks a grade 3 unit, as long as the Vanguard Circle has 2 or more arms cards, it gets 10k. So again, it's more searching. The deck has a lot of searching power in it. You don't really need to worry too much about not seeing your pieces. It's part of why it's definitively one of the best decks of the format, if not best deck. Along with these, to start out the grade 1s, I'm on 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Cindy, who, if you have a grade 3 Nirvana or Bavsargra, can be put to soul to either choose an arms card or a card with Overdress or cross Overdress from drop and put to hand. Along with that, when your Trickstar or Trickmoon is placed by your Vanguard's ability, as long as you don't have another copy of her, you get to call her from drop. So she's good recycling. She brings herself back, she goes to soul, so you're building up soul again for Bavsargra's Soul Blast 2 cost. She is probably one of the best cards in the deck. Though we haven't quite gotten to the biggest problem of the deck, in my opinion. And we have one more card to talk about before that. The original Dress Boost unit, Trickmoon, who, when he's placed on the back row center from drop, you get to countercharge 1. That is multiple times a turn, so if you find a way to do that 3, 4, 5 times, you just get to do that. It's never happening, but if we ever get a reveal for a Sealed Blaze Dragon or an arms card that gets to call a Trickmoon from drop, it'll be used for additional countercharging. But along that, when it boosts, the boosted unit gets 10k for every card armed to your Sealed Blaze main Bavsargra, which, as a reminder, Akshaaya counts as. Of course, there is one other Dress Boost unit, the one that, as of right now, is still legal at 4 in English. Hopefully I get this video out before that changes. And that unit is Verilord. Verilord has the Overdress ability for Trickmoon, which means when Trickmoon is on the board, you can place it over, and it goes into the Overdress state. It cannot be chosen by the opponent's card effects, and when it's placed on rear by the Overdress ability, for a single counterblast, you can choose a total of 2 arms from drop. You get to arm 1 to your Vanguard, and then the other one goes to Soul. So that's another way that you're rebuilding. You're rebuilding your Soul, you're looping some of your arms in a single turn. You can loop the sword 2-3 times in one turn. because this ability that it gives the Vanguard, that does stack. So if you're able to go ahead, put it on like 2-3 times, that is incredibly powerful. That, when it boosts, as long as it's in the overdress state, your front row units get 5k for each card your Vanguard is armed with. So that is 10k to the front, boosting when he boosts Bavsargra or any other unit that has, as long as your Bav has 2 armed cards. And then lastly, 4 perfect cards. There's no real reason I'm not on take 2 of this deck. You definitely could. You're not going to lose anything for being on it. You're not running any other blitz orders. So it's honestly a good deck to do it in. For my trigger lineup, I'm on 8 criticals. They don't have to be the soul crits, and arguably you might get more mileage out of regular criticals just because of the extra 1k. I'm also on 3 copies of Blaze Main Parama, which is the 20k guard front. You can run the 4th of this, drop crits down 7, that's perfectly fine. The trigger lineup is pretty malleable. 4 copies of regular heal triggers. And lastly, of course, Dragveda, the Dragon Empire OT, which, when it's Drove check, restands the Vanguard. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the deck. I don't normally do this. I'm trying to start doing this a little bit more. Varelord is getting hit. That is definitive. This is one of the most powerful decks in the format. And while Varelord 1 doesn't kill the deck, it stops it from looping really consistently. I'm not joking when I say you really can loop the sword 2 or 3 times in a turn, giving your front row plus 15 while the opponent's on grade 2. And that's not including the fact that Bob's critical isn't tied to her being retiring any units, nor is it tied to the opponent being on grade 3. That doesn't take into account the fact that if the opponent's on grade 3 and you're going to your Persona Ride turn, Yugmashad is a restander with 2 attacks. You can run 2 of them, you can have 2 hit board. The deck goes through itself really fast and it filters down very fast. So you're seeing a lot more triggers. This is a very powerful deck. This list is getting hit. Now we don't know when we're getting that list in English, and hopefully not before this video goes up. But those are my thoughts on the deck. I think it's one of the best decks in format. I think it's a deck that even if you're not planning on playing, you should learn how to play it to try and find the little chinks in the armor, because I do not believe this is a tier 0 format. I do just believe that you need to know what you're doing to beat Bavsargra. But if you liked the video, do all the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and I will see y'all next time. Ciao.